Greetings, fellow space nerds, humans of Earth and beyond. I'm Cornelius, back again with another Starfield shipbuilding video. Today, I've got build number 119, the Anvil Carrack from Star Citizen. There are many awesome ships in the world of Star Citizen, but building all of them in Starfield is unfortunately limited. I spent a whole lot of time trying to get the proportions and ratios as close as possible on this build. With my imagination limitations and the current parts available, I'm actually quite happy with the way this one came out. There's two areas on this build that I feel like limited it. The wings and the cockpit. I wish I could have got more of the accurate angle for the cockpit, and the wings unfortunately are only so big. I feel like this ship should be 30% larger than it is, but considering parts available, I think it came out rather well. So if you can't afford to pay real money for Carrack in Star Citizen, you could just give this build a try and at least be able to fly it somehow. Oh well, Star Citizen's awesome. Anyway, hope y'all like this one. Let's check her out. I tried to get this angle up front proper, but there's just no cockpit that has that kind of bird-like look of the Carrack. But I think it's at least passable. The profile and ratio came out pretty good, and these vertical canted inward wings out here were another limiting factor. If there was a way to get those larger, then I could have set the whole ship larger, but I had to work within that limitation. I think this engine setup came out really good. That's a favorite feature for sure. And because I used those Avon Tech Class C engines, this bird has a ton of cargo, so it's rather usable for whatever you want to do in Starfield. A very good multi-role bird. Let's check out this interior. The forward-facing ramp enters into the medbay. This is the Build Habs 1x1 medbay. Don't have to add much because they did a stellar job on this one. Heading aft, we go into the G-Tech crew berth. Their version of all-in-one. This is pre-furnished. I just added a good amount of stuff actually, but it's rather well furnished from factory, so to say. And here's the galley that I just added a good amount of stuff to. Continuing aft, I just kind of set this back area up as more of a storage area with a couple more refrigerators. And we've also got our interior shield room, Matilda's a shield booster, and we can even see our reactor from here, as well as our massive fuel stores. I love making those windows. And heading down the stairs, we enter into the armory. This is where the aft bay enters into. And here in the very back of the armory is the ammunition storage area. Never have too much ammunition. This is an empty armory 2x1 that I've customized, of course. I didn't quite fit all the guns in this one, but I'm happy with how many I was able to get. Here's another view into that reactor core room. Pretty happy with the way that one came out. And now we'll make our way back up towards the bridge. And we'll continue up this ladder. We'll enter into the control room. It's a 2x1 empty. And here we have just a small little tech area. Here's the main control room. And here's a secure server storage along with some high-end items. And continuing aft, this is a empty 2x1 Nova all-in-one berth. Here's our crew suits. Running those Pathfinder suits with various pretty sweet helmets. And this is the primary crew bunks. Here we have a small captain's nook. Probably the smallest captain's quarters I put together, but it works. And here are the rest of the crew bunks. And just aft of the bridge, we have our crew lavatory. This is a heavily borrowed design from a previous build, but I liked it so much that we reincorporated it. And here's the Stroud Bridge. Didn't add too much, just this nav board, a couple extra consoles, some screens. Alright, let's build it. Step 1. Walkable spaces, habs, bridge, bays, and the docker. This one's pretty straightforward. I'll see you in step 2. Step 2. Some of the gear and some of our undercarriage. I did have a little bit of trouble breaking this build down into steps that were easy enough to follow, since as these go on you will see the merges get kind of ridiculous, but I feel they were necessary in order to get the proper shape. But this step is not terribly difficult. I went back and forth with multiple different designs on the nose of this bird. I was just trying to get it not too boxy, but I think with current parts availability, this is about the best, at least that I can come up with. Alright, step 3. This is going to be the bow and a bit more of the upper superstructure. We do start to get into the situation where there's many attachment points really close to each other, which can make getting everything lined up properly a bit of a hassle. Now the lines that we set up here in this stage, we're going to basically just attach to in the following steps. Step 4, our reactor area and our main superstructure. The merges are getting healthier as we progress. This one's not terribly difficult, just follow along in the order that I go here, and everything should sync up pretty well. Sometimes when you've got multiple pieces merged into the same attachment point, it is easier just to move a few out of the way, keeping their position, and then just snatch them back and reattach them, as I did here. Alright, step 5, our engines and the rest of our gear. So this step was difficult for me to organize in a way that is not absolutely ridiculous to try and follow along with. That's why I left one side mostly intact, so I have a reference while I'm showing you this other side, and so you have a reference. Everything back here starts with those first 2 Nova cowlings. Those Nova cowlings attach to the ship, and essentially all of this next steps attach to that. So we need to go in this specific order, otherwise stuff's not going to line up right. Now this is our main structural mounting section. We've got our shield mounted here. We've got one of our Avon Tech engines. This is 4 Nova mini bracers. Now using the mini bracers is great, but because they are smaller in every dimension, and they don't quite stack 2 on 2 to equal, say, a Deimos hull size piece, you will run into offset issues, which is why this is set up the way it is. And here's, again, more reference for what it's supposed to look like before we set it all up. when trying to make a merge like this, when this happens, essentially the shipbuilder is not recognizing the attachment points. So while sometimes you can attach merge parts to other merge parts, unfortunately this is one of the times where I gotta do it one by one. So we'll get the gear in there first, and then we have to do these Hope Tech bumpers one by one. And again here, this is not quite fitting, so since this first section with these Deimos spines is already set up, we'll just pop one piece out, quickly confirm where this is supposed to go, reference helps, and then we will just merge that there, and now we'll attach with those Deimos spine pieces, and this will put everything where it needs to be. This is also building our internal engineering / shield room for those two windows. And here's our grab drive, which is the back of that internal window. We've got some armor trim tabs up there, and these are technically just decorative, but I feel like they completed the aesthetic for the Carrack. Now this grab drive is going to attach to one of the mini bracers that we just set up. So that is going to go there, and that's how we make the merge. So this actually does not connect to any attachment point on the top or the bottom of the current fuselage. Alright, so let's snatch this other half. Now here we have our Matilda fuel cells, got 3 of them, which completes our interior window. Step 6. the rest of our structural bits to put this bad girl together. We got most of the weird merging done in the previous step. Just completing out these wing bits. These Nova cowlings are attaching to the Nova mini bracer. So we're not actually attaching these Nova cowlings to the top or bottom superstructure area. So in order to get this merge how I like it, we are attaching them to those mini bracers, like so. And that'll be for the bottom Nova bracers, not Nova bracers, Nova cowlings as well, sort of sandwiching the Nova mini bracers to get that slant for the wings. Now use those Avon tanks on the tips of the Nova cowlings to help fill out the end point of the wings, considering well, that's just the parts that we have, but I think it came out pretty good. And here's our lights for the rear bay, as well as Nova thruster away. I always try to fit those in pretty much anywhere on all of my builds. It just seems to give more of a practical vibe. This merging here is pretty simple. It's just some shroud caps. Got one of our missiles mounted down there. Now these, both top and bottom, shroud caps arrangements, shroud cowling arrangements are attaching to the ship superstructure. So there is going to be some space there internally between those, all of those Nova bracers, the mini ones, and this shroud cowling setup. And here this top arrangement is essentially mirroring the bottom one, except this is a cowling, not cargo. And I did stick some more armor plating in there because, well, there's no such thing as too much armor in space. I've been having a lot of fun with these in Trinity miniaturized M-class parts. I've incorporated them on a bunch of builds, and I really think they make the rear end of this bird complete. You've done it. The Anvil Carrack is yours. Let's take her for a combat tour. If you made it this far, hell yeah, you one of the homies. This one took a lot of time. Honestly, it was probably solid for a good while. I just have difficulty figuring out when to actually stop tinkering. But I think the final result is rather sweet. There are so many awesome ships in Star Citizen, and I have tried building quite a few of them. A while back, I did do the constellation Andromeda, which seems to be quite a popular video. That is a favorite of the Star Citizen ships. And I do have a couple other ones currently in the hangar that are heavily inspired, not quite a copy though of any of the Star Citizen ships, but I continue to draw inspiration for this shipbuilding madness from the world of Star Citizen, because there's simply so many awesome ships. I cannot thank all of you enough. We are marching right along to 1,000 subs. I appreciate all of you very much. I've got some Star Wars themed builds coming up in the future. I'm waiting for the Skeleton Crew show to end, and then I'll be putting the final touches on my Onyx, Cinder, and more. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you. If you have anything you want to say, good or bad, drop it down in the comments. I'm Cornelius. You can find me in the Star Yard.